Well, when you're homesteading, less is more, kind of.
So yes, less is more. We are coming to this conclusion. We know this. This was the year for us to try all the peppers you could ever imagine. And we tried so many different peppers, thinking maybe we needed this variety, maybe we needed that. And really, it's come down to the same lesson we've learned over and over and over. Grow less variety, but grow more of them. And we're going to show you just what we mean with our totally sweet Italian frying pepper. We cannot talk enough good about this pepper. We've been growing it for years. It never lets us down. And this year has been extraordinary.
Well, we are in October as we come to this realization, but here is our patch. Now, in all fairness, this is the pepper we've grown for a few years now, and we had more of this variety than any of the other varieties we grew, with 45 plants in this little patch here.
So as you just saw there, 45 plants. These were neglected. They were planted late, and they still look amazing. Now, one thing we are finding, and we're going to show you at the end of this video, just what we harvested out of here just today, not even before, just today. We are finding that we're getting a lot of green ones this year because we were late and the plants got a little bit neglected, like I said. Overran with weeds. You know how it is with the Hickorycroft farm. But one thing that I do want to say is, as we were going through trials with all these other peppers that we've tried, paprika peppers, hot peppers, other big fat cooker peppers, all that sort of stuff, those all had amazing qualities and amazing tastes and brought something to the table, but none of them, not one, produced like our Tollies do. And we've kind of come to that conclusion that maybe, just maybe, the Tollies can still do all those things that all the other peppers we were trying could do, whether it is smoking it for paprika, whether it is slicing on its side like a boat to make those stuffed peppers instead of the nice little ones with the cap. So we sacrifice some things in order to grow an amazing pepper that does it all. So without any further ado, I think we should probably give them at least a teaser of what we harvested today.
So this less is more notion sounds so simple at face value that you can produce more with less, but it's a really hard concept to stick to, whether it's peppers, chickens, rabbits, anything really. There's always that temptation to have more diversity. It's kind of this catch-22 because diversity is good, even looking at this strictly from a food perspective. Most of us are not happy eating the exact same thing all the time. At the same time, there's so much variety available to us that that variety can almost take away from what you are able to sort of produce to feed yourself or store, because as we've sort of examined many, many times, it takes a lot of food to feed a human. We just want to kind of reiterate this again, that when we're saying less is more, we really are meaning what Stephanie has already said. Less varieties, less diversity of any one organism, in this case peppers, but more of individuals within that variety. Honestly, I think that that's a really big takeaway message that we know some people have already learned, but it's avoiding that temptation of always wanting to try something new.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the grand reveal of what we just picked just today from our 45 pepper plants so that we could put them away for the rest of the year. Put them away. Guess it's not really, let the sheep eat them basically. Now, one thing I will say is we didn't pick anything that was really smaller than, you know, because it wasn't going to keep and be useful. So the sheep are getting those ones, but we got a lot of peppers. I'm not sure how much this weighs. Maybe we'll get bold and weigh it by the end, but we'll see. But as you can see, gorgeous peppers. And the nice thing about these is they're perfectly fine to eat green. And Chris is very picky about his peppers, and believe me, he'll even eat them green. So that's saying something. So 2 full milk crates and a 5-gallon bucket just today picked. So that's fantastic. We're going to get some of these in the freezer, and then we're going to figure out some other stuff to do with them. But one thing I want to show you before the end of this video here is some of the peppers that we already have in the house that are already turning red. One thing that we have also learned this year with our peppers and trying this multitude of different kinds is that it makes it more complicated. We failed this year at seed saving from all of our peppers, and by having so much variety, we had to bag our peppers in order to guarantee no cross-pollination of varieties. And with that was the creation of more work, more time sensitivity, and we failed. That's something that we are not good at, and I'm sure many of you out there are also not good at that, because time just gets away from you, and we bagged them too late. We had that thought of, I want to try the pepper first, so I'm not going to bag anything yet. And basically the end result was none of them that we bagged had time to develop into a proper pepper that we could save seeds from. So that was another aspect of the less is more, because more varieties created more work, created more complications, and it just didn't happen. So that's another kind of little take-home message, I think, with this. So here we have a collection of peppers that I picked the other day when we had the threat of frost, and I wanted to at least get something in. And you can see already, look at, they're turning. So even if they're green, it's definitely not worth the effort. Does that make sense? Because just sitting there for, what, 3 days now? A lot of them are already turning. So as long as you've got some ventilation and can kind of rotate them around every now and then. Here's one here. He was green, and look at, he's starting to go. So another perk for this totally sweet Italian frying pepper.
Well, as we kind of ended this harvest, our pepper season is over. Kind of walked through, I guess, why we're probably going to focus on this one kind of sweet pepper. We didn't actually mention it, but we are still going to continue to grow at least one variety of hot pepper, because that would be a production quality we can't get out of this pepper. This variety won't do that. Hopefully it's a really good illustration for that concept of less can be so much more. And that can be so much more production, as in what we got off these peppers. That can be so less work, i.e. more time, because you're not tending all these things. You can split this in so many different ways. So even though next spring is so far away, something to think about going forward, that when you're thinking of ordering seeds and starting your garden and all your garden planning, maybe, just maybe, less is a little bit more.
Today's video is brought to you by Harold.